Well, hello there. Well, look here. I've been trying to work on this Nest video camera, get it set up. It's been sitting in the corner for the longest time. I just finally decided to pull it out the corner and try and set it up. I knew I was going to have problems, but I didn't know the degree of the problems I would have. And so I'm frustrated. It's the best that I can. I've been working on it for hours and still haven't gotten the thing set up. So I just decided to turn on the video camera and listen. I mean, and just, chat and say some stuff. I don't know, maybe I'll talk about the Nest camera. And let me tell you what's been going on. I got the thing. I had it all set up, put it in the window, plugged it in. I was straight. Then I went on the phone, got the app, did all the things that I'm supposed to do, following the directions and all. I thought I was good to go. But then the thing tell me, it can't set up something. It gave me a code, C100 or something like that. So then you follow the instructions and find out what you're supposed to do by the code C100. So I did all that. And I'm still trying to figure out what to do. Because, these people, they smart. They smart enough to come up with the way you can do all this stuff and all this technology. They get it all set up and stuff, and it's like magic. But they not smart enough to give you good directions. When they write these directions, they write it as if you know what you're doing at the outset. And so all they got to do is just kind of summarize stuff. Because these people telling me when I pull it out the window and I got to start all over, they tell you got to reset. Now, I just took it out the box, so what the heck I got to reset it for? But they tell me that, so I go down and try and find out reset. They tell you where to find the reset button. Reset button. So I do that. I look where the cord is supposed to be, and it's supposed to be where the angle of the arm and all. I look through all of that. And I still don't see no reset button. I don't see no reset button. And so I look and look. I even got the magnifying glass down here trying to find the reset button. I don't see no button. No, I see that little thing there. That's where you put the plug in. Ain't no button to reset. Now there's a little hole down here, a little bitty hole where the camera is. See that little hole? See that little hole? There's a hole right there. Now, is that what they call it, a reset button? And if they are, why don't they say reset hole? Stick a pin or something down in the reset hole. Don't call it a reset button because I don't see no button. I'm looking for button. I'm looking, I'm feeling, I'm doing all things like blind people. You just using your fingers to feel around, got the magnifying glass, turning it all around, different angles, flipping it this way, okay, trying to find a reset button. I don't see no reset button. All I see is where the cord goes, that little silver thing, where you see the silver thing, and then that teeny tiny little hole. Now I look in that hole to see if I can see a button in there. I don't see no button in there. I don't know. That's the clue that I got online, looked all up, trying to find, Googled the thing to find out where the reset button is. I don't see nothing. And look, you got directions. You got directions. And they're telling you all this stuff that's unnecessary. They're telling me where the light goes in. They're telling me what the camera can see. All of the different directions that the camera can do. And got another little line here that says you can talk and listen. So you can listen. Showing all those little angles. Now, couldn't they spin at least one more line and make something that say reset button? Couldn't they show something that show you where the reset button is so you can find the reset button if you need to? And then they got Spanish, so you want the thing in Spanish, you got it in Spanish. All I need is the reset button. So anyway, I'm stuck with this thing. I don't know what the reset button is. So anyway, I go through my directions, and then it asks you based on the type of model you have. It asks you if you have a corded model, or a model with a corded model or model with batteries. I don't know if this thing got batteries or not. I don't see anything that shows me that the thing has batteries or not. Now I got all these little screws. I look in there and I see 4 little screws. So I can assume maybe if you take those screws out, that's where a battery is. I don't know. But then they also say you got the battery model or you got the corded model. Now, I don't know. I got a wire. So it's asking me whether or not I have a battery model or a model with wires. This one got both. I don't know what it is. Now you see, why? Why couldn't she look here on the box? There's a box. Now the box go through all the trouble of telling people that it's a Nest Cam security camera with 3 cameras. It's a 3-pack and 3 of them in there. Now you can see. You have 1, 2, 3. You can open the box. You can open the box and see that there's 3. And let me show you how it came in the box. Because why do they waste the ink to tell you? Look, you got 3. See those little 3? 1, 2, 3. So they waste the ink to tell you that you got 3 cameras in here. Okay? I can see that. Why couldn't they just put right there into 3 camera and it could say battery or it could say wired? So then I don't even have to wonder whether it's battery or wired. I already know because it said right there on the box. It said right there on the box. But they're going to waste the ink to tell you that you got 3 cameras and you can see that. So I don't know what to do. I'm gonna have to take a break from it and come back to it. And then with this thing, they say, the reset button. Why don't they call it a reset hole? If this is where I'm supposed to stick something, it's a hole. It's not a button. Use the right terminology when you're talking to people. Because look here, I done tried this thing. I done stuck that down in there, and I push. I don't feel no kind of button, nothing giving way. So I don't know if that's a reset something, if something was reset. I have no idea. And I can't even see down in that hole. But it's a hole. And so then I tried to get this thing. It's longer. So I go down in there with this. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if I'm resetting something or not. I have no idea. But you push it down. I don't feel no button. Like if you push a button, you're supposed to feel something giving way. I don't feel nothing. You're sticking something in a hole. So I don't know what the heck is going on. But I'm doing the best I can. And see, I'm not technologically savvy, but I manage. It's perseverance. It's sticking to it. You just keep coming at it, and eventually I'll get the thing, and I'll get it all set up. But that's been what I've been working on today since the wee hours. And I don't know what to do. Oh, but you know what? I talked to you all a little bit ago, a couple days ago, about the trip. I forget what video was on, but it was about my trip to Kitzingen. And when I went to take Terrence up there, and Reggie made me drive across the highway 2 hours and all that. But I had to look it up on Google so I can get the numbers right, because I said it was an hour and a half from Kitzingen to Landstuhl. But it was 2 hours and 42 minutes from Kitzingen to Landstuhl. We lived in Kitzingen, and Terrence was at the hospital in Landstuhl. So basically what happened was, I was in the Landstuhl hospital with 2 hours, 44 minutes away from the house. Decided to go there to the medical center and bring Terrence because that's where he needed to be, because he had all these issues going on. He had the eyes checked, the genitalia surgery, he had the pneumonia. He had a few things going on, so I brought him up there. But anyway, Reggie was coming in because he went to the United States for a conference. And he was coming in from to Frankfurt Airport. The Frankfurt Airport is an hour and a half away from Landstuhl. So I went and picked him up at the Frankfurt Airport. Now what he could have did was drove me back an hour and a half to Landstuhl and left me there at the hospital with the baby. And he could have rested up, took a nap, spent some time with the baby, and then get his black derriere in my car and go on 2 hours and 44 minutes to back to Kitzingen. To Kitzingen where we live. Now he could have did that. But no. He wanted to make me bring him home. So I'm the one. So from Frankfurt We're an hour and a half away from Terrence, Frankfurt Airport. So had to drive from Frankfurt Airport to Kitzingen, where we live, which is an hour and a half away from the airport. So drop him off there, bring him home, and then get my black derriere back in the car and drive 2 hours and 44 minutes in the pouring rain until get back up to the hospital. But I just wanted to clear up the mileage because I had to Google it. You all can Google it all too because it's just numbers. But anyway, that's what else I gotta talk about today? Oh, I can talk about that little boy, that man. He was the man in Florida. The man in Florida, he was a few days ago. It was in the news. The boy, it was something that happened in 2018. The man, he killed 17 people, and he injured 17 others. That boy was 23 years old now. He's probably 21 years old or so back in 2018. Now, when he got up there in front of the judge, the young man said, "I'm sorry." I wanted to let everybody know I'm sorry. Well, fella, you know what? When you step on somebody's toe, you step on somebody's toe, you say, "I'm sorry." You bump into somebody's car at the supermarket, you say, "I'm sorry." But as a judge sitting on that stand or whatever he sit on in that chair on the bench, I would tell that young man, I was like, "Oh no, young man, you had 2-3 years to think about this, and the best phrase you can come up with is what, 'I'm sorry'? Oh no, I'm gonna give you some more charges. Put down the gavel and get a boy some more charges for coming." I was like, "This is an egregious act." You need to come up with something better than 'I'm sorry.' But it ain't only him. I mean, he's age of majority and he's responsible for his own behavior. So yes, indeed, he does need to get punished or something needs to happen. But don't just stop with him. Because you got them people sitting out there in the gallery. I'm sure some of them was his loved ones. Some of those people that was responsible for raising that young man up to be a functioning member of society. They sitting there watching all this play out. And then what happened? At the end of the day, after everything goes down and the judge hit down her gavel, he get handcuffed and he get cuffed off and his life is ruined. He going to die. They gonna send him to death penalty, or he gonna be spending the rest of his life in jail. But those people, they gonna be going home, watching TV, going to the movies, eating chicken, French fries or whatever else they eat, just enjoying their day, enjoying the rest of their lives, when they're the ones who failed him. And because they didn't do what they were supposed to do, this young man is out here and got his life ruined, and look at all the lives he touched in a negative way, because them people didn't do what they were supposed to do. We need to start reaching back and getting them 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old people who sitting up there watching and they won't feel sorry for the young man when they didn't do their part. Now, it's one thing if you do the investigation and you find out they done everything. They done did the wise counsel. They had told the boy he shouldn't be doing this, behave yourself, whatever. You do the wise counsel. They did what they supposed to do. Wipe your hands of it. Ain't nothing you can do. But if they do the Singleton family on this boy and they turn the blind eye, what they say? See no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil, and then they just want to turn their back and act like everything is all right. And you just supposed to go with the flow. I think them people that are sitting there showing up in church out there when that boy was I'm just thinking about the time when my baby was young, cute, in San Antonio, and you got these relatives coming in from out of town, and they all showing up in their Sunday best to come in the front of the church. I mean, you go before the altar when you want to dedicate a child. I don't know what they do in those Caucasian communities and what they do Catholic churches and all. But I know in the black church and Baptist situation, you come in your Sunday best, everybody all dressed up. You come to the front of the church, you go before the altar, and the pastor standing there, and all these people that's supposed to be part of the village, that's supposed to help you raise the kids, you dedicate your child to Christ. And all these people standing up there. looking on, and they supposed to be not bobbing their head up and down and stuff when the pastor say you all want to be part of this and help the child know the way we do things in the Singleton family. When you do go over auntie's house and you go over grandma's house, the rules are the same as they are because all the children know that this is the way we act in this in this family. And so all these people said, and I just wonder about God. Why not what God knew? We didn't know, but God knew that just a few years later, we would all be sitting out here with muzzles, weapons pointed at each other. God could have sent some lightning bolts down right there in the church and strike us all down at once. Because we all standing up there talking about what we going to do. Raise these children under nurture and admonition of the Lord and teach them this and teach them that and teach them right from wrong. All the, ain't nobody did none of that. Them people was on their own journey, looking out for their own best interests. And then these poor kids out here, they don't even know what's going on. And it's like the tragic comedy of the black experience. Because these kids, they sitting up here like, all the rest of the people, all the other kids that getting tucked in at night, getting loved and cared for and feeling confident about themselves and also explore and having all the little interactive toys, all the things that they're supposed to do and learning about themselves and how to love themselves and all things that's all normal. So when them kids grow up, they graduate from high school or they graduate from college, they step out into the world and they look out across their horizons. That's what my dad would say. You're only limited by the depths of your horizons. So all these normal kids can just step out into the world and look out across the horizons and decide which direction they want to go in. Because the world is their oyster and they can do all things. Because they got the support and they got the solid foundation and all that. But then you got my poor kids. You got my poor children, two of them. Before they can even step out into the world after they graduate from high school and college, before they can look across the horizons and see what is available to them and what direction they want to go into, they gotta dig out for all the manure and the feces and all the stuff that was piled upon them when they were growing up. They gotta recover from their childhood. So, and some of them, and my two, they also, and I'm just talking about these black kids too, period. Some of them, they got to get that, not only the manure and the feces and stuff that was piled on top of them, they got these albatrosses that were hung around their necks, so they got to pull that off before they can even begin to start their experience and soar and fly. You got to be able to set sail. You got to get wind beneath your wings and all this, so you can reach your full potential. But these poor kids, they got albatrosses around their necks, they got all these feces and all this negative experience, adverse childhood experiences. It changes who they are. It changes the way they think. And then same thing with that young man with this tragedy. That man probably was thinking wrong. Whatever was going on in his head, his brain is all jumbled. One of these, that my kids are grown now. One day they're going to be in relationships. And then pity the fool who get in a relationship with them and then make them feel like they felt when they were young. You make them feel neglected, make them feel abandoned, make them feel like they don't have no worth, no value, no. You go all of that. So now they feeling like they used to feel in childhood. In childhood, they were helpless. They couldn't do anything about it. So they just sad, miserable. Don't know what to do. No coping skills because you're still young. You haven't developed coping skills yet. But then, now he grown. Both grown. They got coping skills. And they can do something about it, the way you make them feel. And so they might just do something about it. And I think that's a tragedy. But that's why they have counseling available. That's why it's important for you to understand your defects. Know what's wrong with you and how you're going to handle situations. Because see, me, I was growing up, I had issues when I was growing up as far as how I had to deal with people. But see, I was well-rounded. The difference is I ain't had no psychological issues where I didn't value myself. I didn't know my self-worth. I didn't know what my parents expected of me. I didn't know. I'm just out there figuring it out as I go along. Oh, no. I knew what my life was about. I knew what I wanted out of life. I knew who the people were that loved me, and I didn't want to disappoint them. And, they call that well-rounded. You got well-rounded, well-balanced experience. So when I go out there and I have to deal with these fools that don't know how to act, I'm not acting out of anger. What I'm doing is solving the problem. What I'm doing is making sure that these people know I'm not going to be sitting in class and you're going to be pulling my hair for the rest of the semester. Whatever the heck is going on, this is going in, and I'm going to do what needs to be done to stop it. But I ain't acting out of anger. I'm just acting in a situation that, so you all got to understand your defects, because right now, I know I'm defective. I know I'm damaged goods. But guess what? I have coping skills. I know what's wrong with me. And I know how to balance it. See, when you know what's wrong with you, you can counterbalance these things. If I know that I got trust issues, I'm not going to be out there trying to get in a relationship where I got to trust somebody. That wouldn't be a good idea. Don't do it, because you know you can't trust them. And so you're not going to put yourself in a position where they can exploit your defects or whatever. So you avoid all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so that's all I was saying about understanding your defects, so that you can find a way to balance them and make the best out of your young lives. I sure hope that you all can rise above your raising and find a way to counterbalance all the negative things that happen, because we all have baggage. I mean, and there's no perfect situation for anybody. We all do the best we can. But you got to find a balance, so that way you ain't finding yourself standing before the court like this young man was at 23 because of an act he committed at 21, and you got all these people that are supposed to take care of you, protect you, love you, give you a sense of what your position and place is in this world, and they all sitting there watching. And then they go home to have a Coke and a smile. You know, that ain't right. Something wrong with that. We need to fix that. But anyway, there's 20 minutes. I think I'll go ahead and cut it off, and maybe come up with something else to talk about. Talk about something else. I don't know what, but that's all I got to say for right now. Like I said, I try to keep these short. Anyway, bye. Turn it back on. Uh-oh. Go ahead and turn that off.